Welcome to the class experiment. So yes, I think you read the title correctly if you are watching this. The question I'm asking is Bret Cooper pregnant? Now, I am not somebody who regularly watched the comment section. I was interested in what it was when it first started, and there was a couple of videos that I did enjoy, but it was not something that I wanted to watch on a regular basis. And why am I asking this question about her her status of being an expecting mom? Well, as everyone knows by now, the rumor is no longer a rumor. She left the Daily Wire. Her former best friend, maid of honor at her wedding, replaced her on the show after being asked to by the Daily Wire. The Daily Wire at this point is just falling apart. And I'm not surprised. Like, they kind of hit their peak when they started making movies, and they didn't really go about making the movies and promotion and doing all the things that you normally would do with projects like this, as you traditionally would do, right? Like, oh, our subscribers, they're going to be able to watch it, and we'll have more people subscribe because they want to watch a movie. I'm sorry, but if people are not viewing your content or becoming members to listen to all of your hosts, which, let's face it, you pick one host from the Daily Wire and you only watch that one host because they all regurgitate the same stuff. Every day they're filming the same videos, talking about the same topics, giving the same opinions, unless you're Candace Owens, and that's not exactly a very good business model for something like that. Because their intent is to get you to be watching them like the new Fox News, right? All day, every day, you'd have different hosts with different opinions. And occasionally those opinions get the people fired, Candace Owens. And I didn't really see that happening with Bret Cooper. And what this reminds me of is years ago, early 2000s, my wife at the time, my ex-wife, she had just graduated from massage therapy school. So in Michigan, the best job that you can get as a massage therapist is working at a chiropractic office where they charge, on average, the industry average is about $60 an hour. The therapists themselves will get $30 to $35 an hour, which means, yes, the chiropractor himself, herself, is getting about $25 out of that. And the explanation is, well, they're the ones that fill out all the insurance paperwork. Basically, it's a huge scam with the insurance that is provided to school teachers. Because we have a union, school teachers have some of the best insurance in the state, to the point where you basically get for free one chiropractic visit, and with that visit you can have an hour-long massage, and it's covered. And a lot of the teachers eat up these benefits, and chiropractors pretty much know this is free money. As long as they fill out the paperwork and get reimbursed for their services, you have the adjustment plus an extra $60 per week. So how does this lead to Bret Cooper probably being preggo? So my wife starts working for this office, Ruben, and it's no longer in business for good reason. And a few weeks after she started, she's getting very cushy with the people who work at the office. The chiropractor himself seems really nice. And I can't remember if I made the comment or if somebody else did. But keep in mind that me and my ex had pretty much just gotten married. I think it was like in the first year or two of us being married. And the comment came up of like, you know, when she gets pregnant. And his face immediately changed. A couple of other people in the office seemed to be uncomfortable with the idea. And he flat out said, keep in mind, this is totally illegal. He flat out said, well, that's when she's fired. Almost in those exact words. And my response was, that's illegal. Because I am not somebody who plays ball and I call people out on their bullshit, especially when it's something like that. And his response was, it's my office. And he goes on to explain about how there's a certain image and having a pregnant massage therapist is not an image that he wants to portray. Basically saying that people are coming in because she's a hot commodity and nobody wants to get a massage from a pregnant woman. So, keep in mind, my ex-wife at the time of working for this chiropractor, making $35 an hour, doing manual labor. It's not an easy job massaging people. I'll acknowledge that. She was not a employee who does manual labor. She was eye candy that drew people in. Now, Bret Cooper, young, attractive. There was a lot of people I saw online when she got married that were really disappointed. I'll admit, you know, she is fairly attractive, not necessarily my type. And I can see why some guys were just doing the, and, you know, here we are. She's let go from the Daily Wire. Her dirty blonde friend, and I want to touch on this too. I know what the Daily Wire is thinking. It's a bunch of older, middle-aged, conservative guys who, again, they're going about the Fox News route, you know, hot blondes. I know what they're thinking, like, well, Bret's a brunette, nobody really likes brunettes, we'll replace her with the blonde friend. I don't think blondes are in anymore. I don't. And I think they're going to have a rude awakening because they're already losing viewers and subscribers because Bret's leaving. I think the day of the hot blonde has come and gone, and I think her friend, while, you know, she's probably raking in the dough just because of the contract, is soon going to be out of a job. I think I just walked myself into a bit of a, where am I going to go? So, why do I think Bret is pregnant? Well, the reaction from the Daily Wire, out of the blue, after she's gotten married, what's the next step after you get married? Same thing Candace Owens did. Got pregnant, started a family. As conservatives do. Funny how the conservative idea of like family before career doesn't work for the company. Interesting, right? So I would not be surprised at all if the topic came up of her and her husband trying to have a kid, or it was revealed at the office that she was pregnant. Can't have that. It's a bad image. Gonna destroy your career. So of course, if this is the case, it would totally make sense of the NDA, because everybody knows that Bret Cooper signed an NDA, probably with a nice hefty check attached to it, of like, we're not going to talk about this. Because legally, if it did get out that she was being shit-canned for either wanting to or having gotten pregnant, they would be in some deep shit. And that does not surprise me at all. I don't really care for Ben Shapiro. Has nothing to do with his religion or anything. Has to do with his personality, certain things that he said or did in the past that just rubbed me the wrong way. Can't really stand Jeremy Boring. There is something about that dude. Something about his personality just tells me this guy's an asshole. And now, when it comes to running a company, yes, being an asshole can be a very good thing. Making sure you don't get screwed over by other businesses, right? But no, as soon as things start working well, they have to find somebody else to be an asshole to, and that tends to be the employees. So, again, getting back to the Bret Cooper situation, it just would not surprise me, because remember, Bret Cooper, it's not because of her personality or how she raised the viewership of the comment section to over 4 million viewers. Remember when they did those ads, his and her chocolates? And Bret Cooper's following behind Jeremy Boring, wearing a slim dress, her hair's done really good. She was a sex object. That's how they're presenting her for this chocolate, was a sex object. It wasn't, this is Bret Cooper wearing the jeans and being the fun, bubbly college student. No. It was, you want to have sex with this girl. And that was how the Daily Wire presented her while advertising for this new product. Snow White. They put her in Snow White to make their own version of that story. Snow White's not exactly a sex object, but I mean, the prince does come along and, as some feminists would say, sexually assaults her while she's in a coma. Is that what Kill Bill was all about? Was Uma Thurman playing Snow White? Except it wasn't Prince Charming that was coming to visit her while she's in the hospital for a couple years in a coma after getting shot in the head. Oh, she woke up and it wasn't Prince Charming that was on top of her. So, that is my guess. My guess is that Bret is either planning to have a kid or is currently running around with a bun in the oven. And that is why they had to get rid of her so quick, to protect their image. A married woman having a baby. This is a thing. This is what my ex-wife went through working at that office. And just because I still to this day, I really hate and despise that guy that ran that office, Ruben. Which again, it's out of business now. Last I heard, he was working with his father-in-law. And keep in mind, this is a guy, this chiropractor, who took his wife's last name when they got married. I mean, this guy was beyond a simp. Basically, I'd put it this way. He's basically being cucked by his father-in-law. Because his wife basically wanted him to copy what her father did in order to provide the lifestyle that she wanted. That's pretty messed up, right? So some of the things that also happen at this office, and I would not be surprised if there's some shady shit going on over at the Daily Wire as well. So this guy, in order to make the money that he desired to make to keep his wife happy, and again, a lot of this came from her as well, which she learned from her father. So, yeah, this chiropractic office, both of them, and now just the one, just all kinds of shady shit, bookkeeping going on all over the place. One of the things he would do is, you have regular customers, and your regular customers become very loyal to you because they like you. You know, like Bret Cooper's followers like her. They don't want a freaking doppelganger popping up that they don't connect with. No, they want the Bret Cooper. So one of the things he would do is, a year later, after you've received your service, and keep in mind, these people are going in almost weekly, like clockwork. So a year later, they would send out a bill for like $20-$30 for an adjustment or a massage that they received the year before. So people look at it, they would see the date and the month, the year wouldn't really click, and most people, this was all explained to me in his office by him, by the way, they would receive the bill, not notice it's for something that had already been paid for by the company. They already paid whatever copay they had, and they would just send out a check because they're like, oh, that's weird. I wonder why my insurance didn't pay that. Well, I want to keep getting my adjustments, and I don't want to switch an office because I've got an overdue balance. They don't argue about it, and they send out the check. And he would do this to the majority of his customers just so that he would have an influx of checks. And if people do call and say, hey, this isn't right, this is from a year ago, what the hell, I've had like 50 adjustments since then, what's the deal? Oh, clerical error, sorry, you know, it popped up on our computer, yeah, we see that, never mind, disregard. Meanwhile, you've got 30, 40, 50 other patients sending in checks because it's just another bill that's in the pile and they didn't really look it over. And so $20-$30, 50 people, do the math. All because you sent out a thing saying you owe us some money and it's not even accurate. This is the type of shit that a lot of these businesses do. And when you have a boss, when you have somebody that says, you get pregnant, you're fired, I guarantee you there's other shit that's going on. I give it another year or two, and some stuff is going to come out about the Daily Wire. You're going to start having employees talking about that company, and you're going to have people like Ben Shapiro saying, I just work on my own show, and yeah, I'm a co-owner, but you know, there's other people that run the company, and blah, 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 blah. Sorry, I can't talk as fast as he does. I don't know what it is. Was he a lawyer? Was he a lawyer before this? Because it seems like only lawyers can talk that fast to the point where you just can't keep up with them, and you're just like, oh my God, yes, you're right. I'm sorry. You've won your argument. I just can't handle hearing this gunfire of repetitious wording bullshit anymore. That's his show. It's just him, like a freaking machine gun. Facts. Facts don't care about your feelings. Facts don't care about your feelings. And you can't keep up with it. And if you actually listen to it, most of the time he's just talking bullshit. Like, he doesn't have an argument. It doesn't make any sense. That's why I don't watch Ben Shapiro. Some people will take out clips of his show and be like, either he has a point, and that's what they're pointing out, or they're like, Ben is wrong here. But it's that barrage of wordage that just people submit to. So, Bret Cooper just got married, suddenly finds herself losing her job, trying to build up her own YouTube channel again to make up for that, which she will. She's going to take more customers away from the Daily Wire than they are going to keep. And I gotta say, there's, Clavin, I don't really care for that guy. Matt Waltz, I don't know, I can't keep up. I'm sorry, when you've got somebody running for vice president who has a very similar last name to you, I'm going to get shit confused. But Matt from What is a Woman, I think overall he probably could have like a very good career outside of the Daily Wire just because of some of the movies that he makes. And from the sounds of it, maybe things aren't going well with him and the company either. Would not be surprised. I don't know what it is about Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring, but it's almost like once their company became successful, the true assholism that was building up inside started to come out. And Candace Owens, like Bret Cooper, should have, had a red light flashing in front of her when Candace left. Out of everybody who works for that network, the woman leaves, the black woman leaves. Are you serious? And it's a bunch of white dudes. Doesn't freaking look good. And it's because she has a different opinion about a certain subject. That doesn't really look good. I'm sorry, but if you're the Daily Wire and you have a company with a bunch of different hosts, then yes, we're here for conservative ideas. Who says she's not a conservative because of how she feels about the Middle East? And her main argument was, can we send somebody there to see what's really going on? And they're like, no, we're supposed to believe the Israeli propaganda. You're supposed to believe the Israeli propaganda. And she was like, no. Dude, just send me over there for like a week. I'll go over there. I'll film some stuff. I'll talk to some people. I'll come back and give my opinion. And they're like, absolutely not. Because we will be so if that happens. So that's my guess as to what is really happening with Bret Cooper. And if that's the case, congratulations. But this is all questions. This is all me remembering things that happened to me and my ex-wife years ago, working in an office situation probably very similar to the Daily Wire. Let's face it, it doesn't matter what the service is. When you have a hierarchy in office where it's some conservative dude who's reigning over a bunch of people, and he's screwing people over at the same time, and he's blatantly saying to your face, I'm willing to do illegal shit in order to keep my company going. Come on. Young, attractive, that's what they wanted. They didn't want Bret Cooper. They wanted young, hot, attractive, to draw in a certain demographic, to have her, to be watching her show. And 4.5 million viewers later, she did her job. And now they're trying to keep her audience by replacing her with the dirty blonde, which, again, I don't think guys are really into that anymore. I've always thought brunettes were hotter. I remember seeing a picture of Marilyn Monroe as a brunette, which she really was. She started to dye her hair blonde, and all of a sudden she's like super hot. But back then, blondes were rare. These days, we have more blondes, sort of. But when there's an overabundance of a rare thing, it loses its appeal. And guys start desiring something that is actually real and true. And I don't think Bret Cooper is a blonde who is dyeing her eyebrows and her hair darker. I don't think that's a thing. So anyways, that is my guess as to what is going on. I think the Daily Wire is into some really shady, illegal shit at this point, to the point where they're willing to do things like fire one of their conservative married young employees for starting a family. I would not be surprised. I mean, you look at Candace Owens, seems to be a pattern. Can't have some prego on YouTube and on Daily Wire Network turning people off. You know, Sean Connery is into pregnant women. It's kind of weird. It is a fetish. But even Sean Connery was like, that's hot. So anyways, that's my thoughts on this. Keep on typing.